Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another season of Trekyards. I am the former Captain Foley. I'm standing down this season. I'm going to go tutor some kid somewhere. Something.
And I have not been promoted despite years of work, years of hard work and experience and whatever. I'm still commander.
I figured the Admiral would, take my recommendation into consideration and make you captain for the next season of Trekyards, but
we can tell you, Stu, about the title of this video. What is the title of this video?
Who's the captain for Season 4 of Discovery?
Which normally I do not really care about. I know people saying, who's it for Season 3? And I'm like, it's Saru. And I was like, who is it? I'm like, it's Saru. Like, of course it is, Like, it's not a thing for me because the show isn't about the captain. That was one of the pitches originally. Obviously, it's shifted drastically since then. We're in reboot number 2. And next season will be sort of reboot 2.5 because it'll be... Anyway... but Stuart, who is the... Now I sort of care more because it's more of a direct conversation. But who's the captain now?
Tilly. Obviously.
I mean, no, so episode 13 onwards. Not episode 12 and 13.
That would be probably Burnham by the looks of it. Yeah, Burnham.
Michael Burnham, the orphan from Vulcan, who was the only mutineer in Starfleet history, who started a war with the Klingons except didn't, but probably did, who went to space jail, who saved the galaxy from a sentient AI that was already sentient and saved all life in the galaxy, as she often said. His mum designed the very first time-traveling suit in the galaxy, who also went to the future and saved the future several times and now lives in the future. His brother is Spock, who was the inspiration for Spock and gave him the impetus to become the man he was, so all credit to Burnham. And that is, I'm not putting a slant on it, guys. I'm just saying she has a lot of accomplishments to her name as being the hero of the Discovery series. And now she's given the captain's chair.
Oh, the writing was on the wall. This was going to happen at some point. And even Vance's little thing of, my daughter, when she started doing math, she didn't do it right. She drew pictures instead of numbers, and she did it her way. And I thought, oh, my God. I rolled my eyes, unfortunately, because he's already smacked her down for not following the rules. You don't want a captain that's not going to follow your rules, and probably will break your rules regardless of what you say. But anyway, yeah, she gets things done apparently, so they're going to promote her to captain. Didn't really see it coming in the way it did happen. I expected something to happen to Saru, where he was literally going to be gone for a couple episodes or a season without voluntarily doing so. Eventually probably to come back, but I assume that she'd end up taking over just because Tilly didn't quite cut it, and Tilly even said in the episode, do your thing. If it makes you feel better, it's an order, because technically she was captain. But that's kind of what I expected. Didn't expect Vance to be that way at the end, but they made everything happy, feel good at the end. So
yeah, and he's been very not standoffish, but very professional and crisp. And he was extremely emotionful for in terms of his scale of emotion in our scene, which certainly plays to the Michael Burnham is the best character ever, because she generates all of the most feels in him, which is so kind of felt odd, as if those scenes maybe were reshot extra. They kind of have a slight disconnect, but it's also an epilogue, so it's an after the main season's wrapped, let's do more stuff. Sort of situation. And we have heard from the showrunners that this was originally the plan going into season 3, that she would be captain by the end. But as we know, though, that people don't always tell the truth when it comes to these productions. J.J. Abrams said he's not Khan, he was Khan. And my other famous example is Marina Sirtis said Generations was like her favourite movie. It was amazing in the press junket, and then at con stage said, yeah, we were told to say that. Because obviously you're on contract. Like, you're not actually going to be negative about a show while you're on it, why would you, etc. So the same saying Doug Jones is back for season 4, like, you can't tell until we get there, etc., etc. But let's assume it was the plan for the start. And even I actually watched part of the Ready Room, and it was interesting how Sonequa, I think, just like we all considered in season 1, since this is just from Sonequa's own the captain, Michael Burnham herself said season 1, it felt like, yeah, she was in line to get the captain's chair at some point, because that was the pre-start of the story. She was, George even said, you'll be captain soon, so that was her arc. And Sonequa said in season 2, she felt that was not a thing anymore so much, like, oh, it's not about that anymore. Like, I wasn't even considering that. In season 3, didn't even think, because of what I was doing, I wouldn't be captain, and suddenly I was captain. So she was even surprised by the sudden shift. And I think if it is a planned arc, the last 4 work towards a planned arc, because everyone, like you say, says you're destined for great things, and that's captaincy. But the first 6 are like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be part of Starfleet. I'm not ready for this. Demoted. You're doing the wrong thing. Stop breaking the rules. It does not feel like a planned thing. It feels like they shifted to yes, Captain halfway through. I mean, what do you feel? 'Cause I feel there's 2 halves and they do not connect, or at least they didn't make the middle smooth. It's just here and then here. It's like what?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of not making the middle smooth and maybe shifting focus. I think they might have had the idea all along, but the way it was laid out didn't quite work for me. Because we did get this season was the reluctant Burnham season. She didn't want to be the one that was jumping on board to save everybody's ass. She was always forced to do so. She wasn't the one that was volunteering for the away missions and all that. She was the one that's like, I'm just going to sit back because it's been a year and I don't feel like being in Starfleet. But everybody else is like, no, you have to do this. You're Spock's brother, or you have to do this because whatever reason. And so it was very much Burnham's going to save the day, but it's not going to be her decision.
Which was a careful redistribution of framing narrative, because if she is the one, she's the test pilot, she's this, she's that, and she comes in, it just seems as if she has every skill in the book and does no wrong. But as showing the indecision and the not wanting to be the hero at least creates that slight dimensionality of each. And they did do a good job of each thing, like you say. Well, she has to do it because she's Spock's brother. There is no contrived reason here. It's just because this, and this. And even when she goes down with Adira to Trill, they have an entire scene giving us a reason why, rather than just saying, I want to go down. And we're all like, but you have no reason to. You don't even know this person. So they did move towards that correct way of doing it. Obviously, it's best that she isn't always the hero, and in fact the captain isn't always the hero. Ironically, in season 4 she would not be able to go on every away mission, to go on every mission, to do a side mission off for 4 episodes. That's not how captains work. Yes, you can be the occasional, if you need be, go down, but that's not how you fly. So hopefully she'll actually use her crew correctly as an ensemble, and we'll actually have, because that's the thing about the difference between TNG and Discovery. Burnham is the winner of all scenes. Picard may also be the winner of most of his scenes, but he uses his entire crew to do it. He asks his tactical to do tactical, he asks his science to do science, he asks his empath to do empath. And therefore it's not him, it's his team. So he's still the winner, but through a team effort where everyone has their own purpose. Whereas if Burnham can do lots of things without the team, it's redundant, and then also it makes people like the bridge crew not even have lines.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting for season 4, considering she is the captain. Saru is going to come back at some point. He's still got the rank of captain. What are they going to do with him? We don't know who her first officer is going to be. A lot of people have said it's Tilly, but they changed Tilly's color from red, which is command in this era, to blue, which is sciences, which is, I think, a conscientious decision on their part. I don't think Tilly's going to be the XO as much as people keep insisting she's going to be.
And obviously we talked about it at the time. She was a great yeoman, which is a TOS concept where you're kind of like the assistant to the captain. Because in all of her scenes, she never did executive officer-based commands. She always did helping the captain-based tasks. Different role. And then she wasn't using her science ability, which is what she was built in the show for. But obviously Adira replaces her as a science officer, making the character redundant. So hopefully we'll get the Adira and Tilly sort of duo scenes, so they'll both science together as they know each other. There's not so much that resentment we had early in the season. But she's an ensign. You don't give ensign second in command duty, and she's way too young to be promoted anywhere beyond the 1 rank above, and she did not do such a good job in her first captaincy. So it would be a mistake in every field. But it's fine to, keep her in high science and promote her once if you really want to. But I would say, in the first episode, have her do something at least to earn the promotion first. She hasn't earned a promotion yet, sorry.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. She was literally promoted to ensign from cadet last season, so she's been an ensign for like a hot minute. So she doesn't even deserve the promotion to lieutenant, in my opinion. And we're not bad-mouthing Tilly at all. Like, we love the...
Just how they write her and give her.
Yeah, I love the character. I want to see all the best for her, but...
Well, I think she's the youngest officer on the ship. She always was.
Yes.
In Star Trek Online.
Except for Adira now.
Yeah, now. Yeah, the brand new crew who's now been, I guess, brought into Starfleet despite not having any Starfleet training. I mean, she's had Earth training, but, Starfleet is a different entity, so it's kind of odd to see them instantly, and now you're a formal officer.
Well, past Trills have had the training. She probably went through a crash course or something.
Yeah.
Like Esri. I love how Cisco said that. I told the admirals that what could you learn in the course of 4 years that you couldn't learn in the past however many hundred. and that's how she got her position as
Interesting.
counselor on the ship.
I like that. That's a good point. Although Adira has clearly not been able to access the Trill memories. We had that for one episode and then completely abandoned as a concept, apart from the Grey storyline, but that's obviously radical in itself. So I'm happy to conclude based on the evidence that Adira can't access the Tal beyond maybe basic stuff, being human and all. It's not how the DNA can work, etc. So who would you do as Exo then, of the existing crew? Or even not, you know?
Honestly, Lieutenant Nielsen, the former Arium actress, I think
Arium
is the most
1,
qualified.
I call her.
Yeah, and she really stood out in this season for many reasons, and I think she was the one I originally expected Saru to, pick as an XO. She's the one that makes the most logical sense to me. Either that or hashtag Oa for XO. Oa's very competent and awesome as well. So either of those I'd be happy with, or just honestly getting a liaison from the future. Somebody that knows the future and is new to the ship would be great. I think that'd be a nice addition to season 4. And we also got the interesting plot device of Stamets still not really, being on board with Michael at all because of what happened. He very much rebuffs her at the end there, and even when she comes on the bridge and they're all lined up, the look on his face is very like, I'm here because I have to be. I don't really respect you as captain, but
on that note, it's interesting. While emotionally he thinks she did the wrong choice, the head of Starfleet Command backed her up 100%. Right? So everybody in every chain of every command said no. So at a certain point, as a personal thing, he's got to accept it and move on because, she wasn't in the wrong. End of story, It sucks, but she wasn't in the wrong. It was one of a few decisions which they were clearly doing to make her be a captain, show her actually do proper decision-making in the vein of what a Starfleet officer would do, rather than, the Vulcan hello, which I still maintain on the stupidest concepts possible and is pathetic in season 1, etc.
I am just saying that there's going to be some conflict and drama between Stamets and her in season 4.
I mean, that's
as a result
half of Stamets' arc. He hasn't got that. He's never had much to do, especially with this Ford Drive becoming less and less the focus. I would like to see, though, I know we've already got too many characters, quote-unquote, but I think they need to have at least one 31st century officer. Symbolically, now we've included the uniforms, so it makes sense that you could just integrate them. But I mean, if I was Vance, I would give her an XO that is somebody, because how else could you train people to learn about the Discovery without people on Discovery? Like, that's why Burnham got captaincy, not because she is the best officer for the job, it's because she's the only officer that knows the ship, knows the crew, knows the technology. If you actually had people since the start of it learning it, you could have people take the job that are more qualified,
And has been a commander for years, and then a captain, and then a commander again. So she's already been, in that slot essentially, and. Yeah, so she is the most qualified, unfortunately.
But obviously there are, she doesn't know the galaxy, and that's also more important. She doesn't know, I mean, she could learn, but people...
She's been here for a year. She knows it better than the rest of the crew.
But that's why I say liaison from the 31st century team. Like, that person needs to be on board. Especially as, Riker's job and Chakotay's job is to advise the captain. So I think the ship should introduce maybe an Andorian, maybe a, maybe not Tellarite, but some other person, maybe even another Trill, have that as another connection and be the second in command. Although then I think we'd find very quickly that role has very little importance when you don't have it be Burnham and the Burnham style of character. Because when she was second in command, always doing something. When Tilly was just being an assistant. And then, because it's not an ensemble show, it's a Burnham show. And with a secondary of someone doing something else. So it's kind of a hard balance. So it makes more sense to promote an existing character because at least get the same amount of screen time. But it makes more sense in the universe to bring a liaison in to kind of learn the ship and give experience.
Well, it would be great storytelling-wise to, have the liaison and somebody that really doesn't necessarily want to be there. Because this is an old ship. This is Burnham. She knows the history of Burnham because she's had to study it for her position. Or their position, could be a male as well. But the second officer doesn't necessarily want to listen to Burnham and actually teaches Burnham a lesson along the way as far as my second in command, my XO doesn't listen to me. Well, guess what? That's exactly what you did to every captain you've ever been an XO to. So you'd get the conflict between the two of them and Burnham kind of being like a parent. Because, one of the things when I was growing up, it's like, I hope your kids, I'm passing the curse on to you that your kids put you through everything that you put me through. So as a captain, having your XO who's kind of disobedient and does their own thing would be very frustrating for Michael, and that could be a very interesting story arc for season 4 if it is this liaison that thinks they're better because they're from the future. They're working with this old crew on this old ship. Sure, it's been retrofitted or refitted, but that would be interesting. I think that'd be a great storytelling dynamic.
That would, though, force Burnham into another reboot of a character. Suddenly become mature that she's not really been in the 3 seasons. Season 1 was kind of the entire thing was playing that she's very immature, etc. I think it would be more logical. It's interesting. I just think it'd be a bit of a shift. But the whole season's a shift. Maybe make more sense to have an older officer who's actually maybe like his 60s or she's in her 60s as a very experienced, who's there to be very much a guiding hand for a very, inexperienced officer in terms of the future, not been good. Remember, he got fully, court-martialed and in prison. This officer is shown to be one of the, like I said, the first leader in Starfleet. You don't get that without having some severe character faults. But if you have an officer that has experience, that can really help guide them. And Burnham's not exactly, she's young for a captain. Not that she's old, but she's actually a young captain. Obviously, this is the future where they have to use who they've got. I don't know how much of the academy is functional, etc. But it's kind of fun to have an old. Obviously, it's a heel's interesting choice. It's got a certain level of centeredness, but not the experience of the actual universe. And I'm hoping not the chief of security of Starfleet Command. I know you've said that previously, but wouldn't make sense. It's such a demotion.
Yeah.
Although
I think Lieutenant. She's Lieutenant Willow right now.
Yeah. So it would be a new character, but I'd like to see it be an older officer who can kind of help with that, be a mentor, and then you can have that dynamic of still the mentor mentee.
Have Non come back. Now that we've got dilithium and travel's not a problem, go back to Barzan.
Interesting choice.
And get Non back. she was a fan favorite. People liked her, and she was head of security. It would be interesting to bring her back on board for that role.
Although I think she's quite an aggressive person as role of security officer. I think if the ship is about showing peace and prosperity, having a security officer as an XO who's going to always say fire torpedoes or let me shoot them, not the best idea. It's having Strax as XO. He'll order the torpedoes. It's like let's not do that. But definitely she should come back for sure.
Well, I think this is turning into a separate conversation altogether about who the XO should be. And so getting away from the point of the video.
I think basically we're both okay with her being captain. We kind of went over that fine because, as you said last time and was brilliantly eloquent, it's not that she has been given a golden ticket. It's that she's the only person that could do the role right now. And the role is just to be a delivery driver. So it's not as prestigious as you think, which then helps it to be less... best character ever situation. It's an amazing ship, but they're not doing these amazing things. They are just delivering things to people, which will be many months and potentially years of work, etc. We might see a year time jump where they've now given dilithium to 500 planets and they're bored. Because as we've joked, most of the time as a captain and as a crew, you're at warp, staring at those stars because it takes longer to get places, and as you're the captain. A lot of it's just sitting in the chair waiting to do stuff. You have less to do as captain in a non-difficult situation. That's why a commander does a lot of the job. So you can imagine she'd get bored. And she's the go-getter, the action, the shoot-'em-up. And now her job is just to order people to beam in and out of stations with dilithium. It's not the promotion she necessarily thought.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of her character for season 4 is... I'm bored. I'm literally bored. I fill out reports.
Yeah.
I'm not being able to just go off and do whatever I need to do. I need to be in charge of the ship.
Yep.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, I can see that being a thing.
And honestly, I could see very much that we may get a case where season 5 is Burnham captain of a new ship and Sari's captain of Discovery, because Discovery isn't, necessarily the ship for her. She's too outgoing for that. That's why we both said it'd be more interesting if she became a rogue like a Book. That'd be more. She's not. That works better for her personality style,
I kind of disagree with that a little. I think she want to be in the most important ship ever, and with the Spore Drive, it's the one that can be sent wherever they need it instantly, But yeah.
Well, I think her season 3 personality would not. I think she's come down from the I want to be on X, Y, and Z. So I don't think she has that. I think she just wants to be with Book now and be useful, but I don't think those things are actually mutually exclusive or whatever. But yes, Stuart, interesting stuff.
That's right. So maybe we'll have a conversation live talking about who should be XO. I think that's a good conversation to have, but kind of went off the rails
It's the
a little bit in this
Vulcan on
episode.
Vulcan that was going to be Captain Discovery 9 years ago. It'll be him. He was chronologically frozen and he finally got the position.
Who was waiting these bags for the ship to come. Oy.
He's still there, Stuart. He's still there.
Everybody forgot about that. Nobody knows what you're talking about. The original Captain of Discovery that was waiting. So put in the comments, guys, who you think should be the XO, even though that'll be a separate conversation, and what you think of Burnham being captain. Absolutely. Just let us know. And who do you think should be captain for the next season of Trekyards? Because, you know, as much as I put my recommendation in for Commander Calkins here, it's got to be approved by the Admiral. So
it's probably going to be
I'm leaving. I'm leaving. So
it's probably Sneaker Martin Green. She's probably going to come in and just start doing the show instead. And I'll be like, what? This is unusual.
Anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell icon so you can see who, in fact, is the captain for the next season of Trekyards. And, yeah, join us for lives and discussions like this all the time.
And if you want to make sure we have enough dilithium for this next season, then support us directly via donations, either via Patreon, PayPal, join the channel, or Super Chats. All really, really great ways, any of which are helpful, but all different in terms of the impact they have. But Super Chats are always fun because you get direct conversation with us, and we love that. We feel very energized by that what do you think moment, and it can create some great conversations. And just like Stuart said, and all the free stuff does work too, just in a different way. So thanks in advance.
That's right. So it's been great, guys. It's Captain Foley signing off.
Commander Coggins too. I'm here. We'll see who's there next time. Bye, guys.